Salvete discipuli, and welcome into another edition of Latin Review. I hope that you're all doing well this weekend. Please join me as we review the usage of the infinitives in Exercitium 4 and Exercitium 5. Bene. So in this exercise, you were to fill in the blanks only with the infinitive forms. And if you remember from the last few days of class, the infinitive forms are translated into English always with a to, usually. So in portat, which means he, she, it carries, becomes portare in its infinitive form, and that means to carry in English. That's how we would translate that on its own. And videt becomes videre in its infinitive, and it means to see. And sumit becomes sumere, and it means to take up, to pick up. Audit means audire, becomes audire in its infinitive, and it means to hear. So these are all active infinitives. We saw in class on Friday the passive infinitives, where we changed the E to an I, and we'll see those in the next exercise. But in this exercise, we're only using the active infinitives. So let's take a look at the example. Pisces blank non possunt. Pisces ambulare non possunt, which in English would be fish non possunt, are not able to walk, ambulare. So we don't say pisces ambulant non possunt, we say pisces ambulare non possunt. Fish are not able to walk. Aves, number 1, blank possunt. Aves volare possunt. Birds are able to fly. Pisces blank possunt. Pisces natare possunt. Fish are able to swim. Number 2, equus blank et blank potest. So we're talking about one horse. That's why it's potest instead of possunt. Right? Equus ambulare et curere potest. A horse is able to walk and to run. Oves lupum blank possunt, neque eum blank possunt. Oves lupum audire possunt, neque eum videre possunt. So this is, the sheep are able to hear the wolf, and they're not able to see him. Eum, videre eum. Number 4, Julia centum numerare non potest. Julia is not able to count 100. Homo mortuus, this is number 5, se movere non potest. Homo mortuus, it est a dead human, non potest, is not able, se movere, to move himself. We saw this one in the chapter on Friday. Se is him or herself. Number 6, sub aqua homo non potest spirare. Sub aqua, it is underneath the water, a human is not able spirare, to breathe. 7, sine anima nemo potest vivere. Sine anima, it is without breath. Nemo, not talking about the fish here. It is no one. Without breath, no one is able to live. Vivere. Animam ducere necesse est homini. So you remember that necesse est always needs an indirect object. We're wondering, for whom is it necessary? And that indirect object is always going to be in the dative case. So this is our indirect object and it's dative. It is necessary for the human, for a human, animam ducere, to draw breath. And how else could we say that? We could just say spirare. Spirare. Number 9. Necesse non est gemas habere. Necesse non est gemas habere. It is not necessary to have gems. And for whom is it not necessary? We intuit that in number 9, it's talking about humans. So we intuit that number 9 is saying, necesse non est hominibus gemas habere, which is why the indirect object is not written there, because in the context it's clear that we're saying it is not necessary to humans, for humans, to have gems. Number 10, qui gemas vendit pecuniam facere potest. Who sells gems, potest, is able to make money. Pecuniam facere. So that was exercise 4. I hope that makes sense. If there's anything that's unclear, please highlight it, circle it, bring it with you to class tomorrow, and you can ask me when I come around to check your corrections. Number 5. In this one, you are using both active and passive infinitives. So you see in the examples that they have given, you see the example Julius Juliam portare or vehere potest. Julius Juliam portare potest. And then when we make that passive, it becomes Julia ab Julio portari potest. So in the first instance, where it's Julius Juliam portare potest, the sentence is Julius is able to carry Julia. And then in the second sentence, Julia is able to be carried, portari, by Julio. So that's the difference between active and passive infinitives. The E just changes to an I for the first, second, and fourth conjugation verbs. And the only real exception to that rule is the third conjugation, because where the E is short, such as sumere, and instead it just becomes sumi. So the ER is dropped altogether and it just becomes sumi. So let's jump into the answers. Number 1, Julia magnum sacum portare. Portare non potest. So here we need the active infinitive. Julia is not able to carry the large sack. So Julia is the subject, she is not able. And then we see magnum sacum is the object, so we know we need active infinitive to fill in the space here. Julia is not able to carry magnum sacum, the large sack. Number 2, magnus saccus a parva puella portari non potest. Right? Portari non potest. Again, Portare, portari means to be carried. So the large sack by the small girl is not able to be carried. So here, Magnus Sakos is our subject. Magnus Sakos is our subject. And our verb, non-potest. The sack is not able. What is the sack not able to do? Well, it's actually what is not able to be done to the sack. The sack is not able to be carried by the parawapuela. And often when we see a parawapuela, that's cueing us that we might have a passive coming, that something is being done by somebody, someone. Number 3, homines deos neque videre, neque audire possunt. Humans are neither able to see nor to hear the gods. Humans are neither able to see the gods, nor are they able to hear the gods. Number 4, Dei neque videri, neque audiri possunt ab hominibus. The gods are neither able to be seen nor to be heard by the humans, ab hominibus. Nemo pisces numerare potest. Pisces numerari non possunt. So you see the distinction here. No one, potest, is able to count the fish. So here, fish is in the accusative, pisces, because no one is able to count them. But in the second half of this number 5, pisces is in the nominative. The fish are not able to be counted. And excuse me, I needed to put numerari. Numerari. The fish are not able to be counted. Qui pecuniam habet, cibum emere potest. Number 6. Sine pecunia, cibus emi non potest. So the distinction there is, in number 6, it's saying, whosoever has money is able to buy emere, cibum, food. But in number 7, it's saying, without food, sine pecunia, cibus non potest emi. Food is not able to be bought. Emi is the passive infinitive, to be bought. And because it's third conjugation, it's emi instead of emeri. That would be if it were second declension with a long e, but emere has a short e rather than a long e, which we signify with that little whatchamacallit, above the e that I've just written. It shows that it's a short vowel. But that's why it's emi and not emeri. But it still means the same thing in that it's a passive infinitive. Number 8, Marcus et Quintus non possunt lecticam vehere. Marcus and Quintus non possunt, are not able to carry the lecticam. A parvis pueris lectica vehi non potest. By the small boys, so we're expecting a passive infinitive, the lectica, which is our subject, is not able, to be carried, vehi. Again, that's a third conjugation verb, vehere, so it becomes vehi instead of veheri when it's passive. So vehi means to be carried. Number 10, canis ostium neque aperire, neque claudere potest. The dog is neither able to open the door nor to close the door. Ostium a cane neque aperiri Neque claudi potest. The door by the dog is neither able to be opened, aperiri, nor to be closed, claudi. And claudere is a third conjugation, so it's claudi instead of clauderi. So that concludes our review of exercises 4 and 5. I hope that you found it helpful. And again, if you have any questions, please circle the ones you're still struggling to understand and bring them into class. Just from looking over your homework briefly, it seems that a lot of you struggled with remembering which conjugation each of the infinitives belonged to. So some of you forgot, for instance, maybe that sumere was part of the third conjugation, and instead thought it was like videre. And so you just mixed up these endings here. But that's not a primary worry so long as you're correcting yourself and remembering which conjugation they're part of. I'm more concerned that you can be able to tell the difference between the active infinitive and the passive infinitive. So, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Tuesday. And remember to read the first lectio of the chapter up to where we've read in class together, chapter 10, and to write down any questions that you have, any words or phrases that still aren't clear. All right, see you later.